Strange Darling is directed by J.T. Molnar. I've never heard of this filmmaker before. In fact, I wasn't even planning to see this. I was actually going to check out the Crow remake, but I've been putting that off for a while. This film caught my attention because it held a 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes for a while following its limited release at one of the film festivals last year. I forget which one. And this is the type of movie that I think you should go into knowing as little as possible about the plot. That's what I did, and I was very satisfied with that experience. So this review is probably going to reflect that. I'm going to keep this one short. You'll also notice I'm sitting in front of an extremely bland wall with nothing on it. I did mention in my previous video that I recently moved, and that's why things are a bit imperfect right now. The premise for Strange Darling is a one-night stand turns into a twisted and very violent game of cat and mouse. That's all I'm going to say about the story here, because this is one of those few films where you sit down and watch it and you think you're watching one thing, then it starts to evolve into something else, and then it evolves even more and continually subverts your expectations, despite the fact that you're like, all right, I'm pretty sure I know what's going on now. And it's told in 6 chapters, also in a non-linear fashion. Now, in the first 15 minutes or so, when I first found out it was going to do this, I was a bit apprehensive. I was worried that would feel a little gimmicky and kind of like they're just trying to be overly artistic. But it actually works quite well. As the film progressed, I got more and more locked in, and I'm like, oh, this was actually a really clever way to tell certain pieces of the story, then go back in time and reveal more information, which kind of changes your perspective on certain events that are happening in the later chapters. The camera work is also very impressive from a first-time filmmaker here. I'm a huge sucker for a good old split diopter. In a way, it sort of reminded me of Tobe Hooper's films like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The title card in particular feels like it was maybe an homage to that. But this isn't really a horror film, even though it does involve a serial killer. It's more of a psychological thriller with some very gory sequences and intense stuff that I don't dare spoil for you. I just feel like it's rare nowadays that I praise a script for being the best part of a movie. Usually something else trumps it, like even Dune 2, which I think is a 9 out of 10 fantastic film. What would most people say is the most exceptional element in that film? Probably the visuals. Denis Villeneuve is a true auteur of his craft. But this is one of the few movies that I've seen this year that genuinely took me by surprise and did so on multiple occasions. Granted, none of it would work without 2 phenomenal lead performances, which we have here in the form of Kyle Gallner and Willa Fitzgerald. Their acting was so good in a few specific scenes that I almost forgot that I was watching fictional characters for a few minutes. I was genuinely believing what was happening to them was actually happening to them. It's not a flawless film though. I do have some issues with the third act, particularly a couple of characters that just kind of jump into frame and kind of feel like they stumbled in off of a different, much goofier film set than the one that I was watching for the last hour and 10 minutes. It had me worried that this ending wouldn't stick the landing. Thankfully it did. It gave me all the satisfaction I wanted based on the buildup that we got. But these 2 characters, I almost feel like they weren't necessary at all. You probably could have cut out the 10-minute segment that they're in. But Strange Darling is only 90 minutes. It's short, it's sweet, it gets right down to business, but it's also very mysterious and misleads you in clever ways, not in ways that feel like you're just trying to confound the audience. No, this is a very creative film and absolutely one of my favorites of the year. I'm gonna give Strange Darling 4.5 stars. If you're taking a trip out to the theater in the next couple of days, please, please, please go out and support this film. We need more indie movies that are like this, that are genuinely clever. I think this one truly deserves your money. As always, though, I do want to know what your thoughts are. If you do see Strange Darling, drop down into the comments. Let me know what you think of all these twists and turns. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe while you're at it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.